Alright, so here are the things we're going to learn today. So today we're going to learn how to read graphs. We're going to learn how to read fractions, convert fractions. We're going to learn some operations with fractions like adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And we're going to learn about different types of angles and how to find the directions of the angles. So reading graphs. You can read graphs in order to collect data. While reading graphs, there will be many different numbers and you might be confused, but there are usually ways to figure out what those numbers are. And once you do that, finding out the data is a piece of cake. So here's an example graph that I have. This is called the table graph, and it's the easiest type of graph to read. So I have some problems that I'm going to solve here. So number one, how many birds are in the park? So you can see that there are a total of 30 animals in the park, and you can see the amount of number of all the other animals. So you have 8 spiders, 3 squirrels, and 8 worms. So you just do 30 minus 8 minus 3 minus 8, because then that's how you find the number of birds, and you get 11. So just write 11 here. So how many birds are in the park? You just get 11. Which animal had the most in the park? You just look for the biggest number in the graph that's not total, and you can see it's 11. And so the answer is birds. Which animal had the least? You find the lowest number in the graph, which is squirrels, so you just write squirrels. How many more birds were in the park than worms? You just subtract the number of worms from the number of birds. So what you get is 11 minus 8, which is 3. And if 3 birds, 4 worms, and 2 spiders left, how many animals would be left? So I just minus 3 from 11. 11 minus 3 equals 8. And if 4 worms left, then that would be 8 minus 4 equals 4. If 2 spiders left, then 8 minus 2 equals 6. So then you just add these together. So 8 plus 4 plus 6, and then you add the number of squirrels there because none of them left. And you get 21. Alright, here's a practice graph. So this is called a tally graph. And like every set of tally marks is equal to 5. So you just count by 5s here. I'll just let you guys do this one. And when you're done, you can send me the answers in private chat. Alright, so a lot of you finished number 1. I'm going to do number 1 for you guys. So the first question is the easiest question. In which month did Mr. Krabs sell the most Krabby Patties? So you just look at the graph and you see which one of them has the most tally marks. So as you can see, March has the most tally marks. So what that means that that's the month which he sold the most Krabby Patties. So number 1 is March. And a lot of you are done with number 2 now, so I'm going to do number 2 for you guys. How many more did Mr. Krabs sell in April than in February? So alright, I'll just wait until you finish, then I'll go over it. Alright, I think it's time to go over number 2. So this one's slightly harder than number 1. How many more did Mr. Krabs sell in April than in February? So in April, you can see there are 9 tally marks. You just count, there's 9 of them. And in February, there's 6 tally marks. But each tally mark is 5. So that means you do 9 minus 6, which is 3, and you have to multiply that by 5, which makes it 15. So I'm just going to clear this and I'm going to write the answer down. Alright, I'm going to write the answers. March and 15. Claire, did you raise your hand? Can you unmute yourself and say whatever it is you want to say? Or you can just type it in chat. Oh, did you just raise your hand by accident, or do you want to ask a question? Oh, you don't know how to do 3? I guess I'll just go over 3 then. So how many patties were sold all together in the 2 months with the most sales? So here we can see that we can just look at this graph and look at which months had the most sales. So we know that March has the most sales, so we include March here. And January has the second most sales, so we add that as well. So how many patties were sold altogether? That means how many patties were sold in total. So that, which means that you just do March plus January. So March has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. March has 16 tally marks, which means that it sold 80 patties since every tally mark is worth 5. So we just start off with 80, and now we count January's tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And January has 14 tally marks, and we have to multiply that by 5 since every tally mark is worth 5. So 14 times 5 is 70, so we just add 70 here. And since we're finding out how many patties were sold in total with these 2 months, we just do 80 plus 70, which means 150. So the answer to number 3 is 150. Right. So a lot of you did number 4, so I'm gonna do that as well. And I know some of you are having trouble, so I'm gonna help you guys with this problem. So number 4, if Mr. Krabs sold twice as many patties in June as he did in May, how much did he sell in June? So we just take the number of patties he sold in May, because it's asking us twice that amount. So we just take this, count the tally marks. There's 7 tally marks. So we just do 7 times 5 since every tally mark is 5, and that would equal 35. But since the question is asking for twice the amount of Krabby Patties, we have to multiply that by 2. So 35 times 2 is equal to 70. So that means he would sell 70 Krabby Patties in June. And I'm also going to go over number 5, since a lot of you tried to do this. This one's a challenge problem, and it's pretty hard compared to the last 4. And there's nothing wrong with you if you got it wrong, but if you get it right, you're really smart. So if each patty was sold for number 12, for $12, how many patties did he sell in April and May altogether? So first what we do is we just add the amount of patties we have in April and May. So April has 9 tally marks, which means 45 patties. So we have 45 here. And May has 7 tally marks, which means 35 patties sold. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add them together. 45 plus 35 equals 80. And 80 is the total number of patties that was sold in both April and May. But what this problem wants us to find is how much Mr. Krabs earned. So each patty costs $12. That means we have to multiply 80 by 12. So we just do the multiplication. I'll just do it up here. 80 times 12. And 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. Alright, I don't have enough room up here. I'll just find somewhere to do it. So we know 80 times 12 160, and this one times 1, it's just 80. So the answer is $960. $960. All right. So next you have a line graph. I'm going to do the first two problems, and then you guys can do the next two. So first two, how many students took the bus in 2007? We just go to the year 2007, which I'll circle here, and then we just find the dot, which means how many students took the school bus. And the dot is up here. And we can just look over here, and that's on the line that says 150, which means 150 students took the bus. And second problem, in which year was the number of students taking the bus the greatest? We know that on the lines, the numbers go up every line. So like they always go up as the lines get higher. So we just look for the highest dot on the chart, which is this one over here. And we look down, we see that it's 2006. So the answer is 2006. And for the next two problems, I'd like you guys to do them. If you have any questions, just private message me. Otherwise, I'll leave you to it. So a lot of you done with number 3. I'll just do this one for you while you guys do number 4. So how many more students took the bus in 2009 than in 2008? So what we do here, we just look on the graph. 2009, we find out how many students took the bus. This dot is the 2009 dot. But if we look at the side, we can see that it's the space between 250 and 200. But what we have to do here is we can just find the average of 250 and 200. Just find the middle point. Since usually when there's a line between two numbers, that means it's the value between those numbers. So that would be 225. Oh, I just wrote it the wrong way. Sorry. 225 is this line here. And next we find 2008. So we just find the 2008 dot, which is here. And again, the line is between 100 and 150. So we know it's 125 since that's the middle number between 100 and 150. So next, what we want to do is we subtract 125 and 220 from 225 since we need to find out how many more students took the bus in 2009 than in 2008. So 225 minus 125, that equals 100. So we just write 100 here. That's the answer. Actually, now I see a lot of you guys are also done with number 4. So I'll just do number 4 for you. How many students took the bus in total? So what this question's asking you to do is to add all of the values in the graph combined, which means, so first we just do this. We find the first dot, which is 250, 250 plus. We just have to add everything together. So 250 plus 150, which is here, plus this dot, which is 125. And then we add the last dot, which is 225. So we just do that. And then 250 plus 150 is 400. 400 plus 125 is 525. And 525 plus 225 is 750. So the answer is 750. All right. Let me just do something here. All right, clear. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So now we're learning about fractions. Fractions are a type of number that are not full numbers. 1/2 is not a full number since it's between 0 and 1. Reading fractions is easy because you just need it to read it as the top number, called the numerator, divided by the bottom number, which is the denominator. So I'm going to draw a fraction here. Let's say 3/4. This is a fraction because it's just the numerator, which is 3. It's the top number. And this is being divided by 4, which is on the bottom. So numerator, and this is the denominator. This will be pretty easy to remember once you get used to working with fractions. So now I'm going to teach you about different types of fractions. So regular fractions are fractions where the numerator is lower than the denominator, and it can't be simplified or converted to any other type of fraction. So for example, this is 1/3. So like the numerator is lower than the denominator. 1 is less than 3. This is a regular fraction and you can't really do anything with it. So basically, I'm gonna say it again. The numerator is the number on the top of the fraction. So 1/3, this would be the numerator. And the denominator is the bottom number of the fraction, which is the 3 here. So improper fractions. This is a new type of fractions where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. The numerator, which is the number on the top, is bigger than the denominator, which is the number on the bottom. So 6/5 is an improper fraction, and it's a weird fraction because the numerator, the number 6, is bigger than its denominator, the number 5, which means this fraction is bigger than 1. And it can be switched to a mixed number and back. And mixed numbers are a quote-unquote fraction, which is just a whole number plus a regular fraction. And just ignore the typo here. I meant to write fraction. So for example, 2.5. This is a mixed number because it's basically, you can just read it as 2 plus 1/2. So it's just like an improper fraction, but written a different way. It's more than one. So now we're going to learn about converting improper fractions and mixed numbers. So to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, all we need to do is to divide the numerator by the denominator. So we just that's how fractions work. You just divide you just read it as dividing the numerator by the denominator. And you use the result, you use the answer to the division as the whole number, and you use the remainder of the division as the numerator for your new fraction. So what we do, convert 10/7 to a mixed number. So 10 divided by 7 equals 1, and the remainder is 3. So once you learn about this, it's not that hard. Just write 1 as the whole number and then 3 as the numerator of the new fraction. And 7 is the denominator of this old fraction, so we have to keep the denominator in our new fraction. Yes, Ryan, you can go to the bathroom. So for the second one, we just convert this mixed number back to an improper fraction. So basically what you just do, all you have to do is basically the opposite of the first thing we did. We just multiply the mixed number, we just multiply the whole number with the denominator and then add it onto the numerator of the fraction. So when I say it, it sounds hard, but once you do it, it gets really easy. Convert 2 3/4. So we have our number 2 3/4. How I convert this to an improper fraction is I just do this whole number 2 times the denominator times 4, which is 8. And since we have 3, we have to add that to 8 plus 3. And we always have to keep the denominator of the fraction, which is 4/4, which is equal to 11/4. That's the improper fraction of the mixed number. So I have practice problems. We're going to convert some improper fractions to mixed numbers and back. Again, if you have any questions, you can just private chat me. Otherwise, just go do the questions and I'll check on it later. Guys, when you're giving the answers to the problems, make sure to do it in private chat instead of the everyone chat. So only I can see the answers and you don't accidentally give the answers to other people. So a lot of you have finished these problems already. I'm just going to go over these. So first we have convert 12 over 11 to a mixed number. What we have to do is we divide 12 by 11. So 12 divided by 11 equals 1. And the remainder of that is 1. So we just write this one as the whole number. We write this as the numerator of the new fraction. And we take this old denominator and we write it right here. So the answer is 1 and 1/11 for the first problem. And for the second problem, we convert 25 over 4 to a mixed number. So we just do the same thing here. Just do 25 divided by 4, and that equals 6. And we have 1 as the remainder. We just take this 6 and write it as the whole number of the new mixed number. We take this 1 and we just write it as the new numerator. Again, we just take the old denominator and write it right here. So now I'm going to start converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. So first what we have to do is 4 1/6 to an improper fraction. What we have to do here is we just multiply 4. We multiply 4 by the denominator of this fraction, which is 24, and we just have this numerator sitting here. So what we do is we just add 24 to 1. 24 plus 1 over 6 equals 25 over 6. That's the answer to the third problem. Fourth problem is pretty tricky for some people. If you solve this, you're smart. So what you do is you just multiply 12 by 5 and you get 60. Then you add it to 4. 60 plus 4 over 5 equals 64 over 5. Yeah. Now we're going to move on. Next, we're going to learn about adding and subtracting fractions. So to add and subtract fractions, you need to find the LCM of the two denominators. Then multiply both numerators and denominators to match the LCM and then add or subtract. Jason, do you have a question? What are you confused about?
With the making the improper fractions to a mixed number.
Do you have a question or can I just keep teaching? Guess I'll just keep teaching then, okay? So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to add 1/3 and 2/5. So we have to find the LCM of the two denominators, 3 and 5. So the LCM of 3 and 5 is 15. So the LCM is 15. Now we have to multiply these fractions to match the LCM. So if you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the fraction will still be the same, it's just written differently. So we can do 1 times 5 over 3 times 5 in order to match the new denominator, get 5 over 15. Then we do the same for the second one. And that would equal, let me just clear this and do it again. 5 over 15, and then we get 6 over 15. We add these together, we get 11 over 15. Next, what we do is subtract 2/5 from 5/9. Again, we have to add these together by finding the LCM of the two denominators. So 5 times 9 is 45. The LCM is 45 because 5 and 9 don't share any factors, so you just multiply the two numbers. So this is our new denominator. We had to multiply these two fractions in order to match up with the denominators. So 5 times 9 equals 45. So then we just do 2 times 9 as well. We have to multiply both sides of the fraction by the same number. Guys, can you stop chatting about random things in the chat? Some people want to learn math, and you're ruining it for those people. 2 times 9 is 18. So what you get is 18 over 45. And next we have 5 nines. 5 over 9, we have to multiply that in order to match the denominator. 5 times 5 over 9 times 5 equals 25 over 45. So 18 plus 25 over 45 equals 43 over 45. So this is the answer. Oh, wait. Hold on. I got something wrong. We're subtracting. So 25 minus 18, we just subtract instead of add, over 45 equals 7 over 45. This is the answer. I have practice problems for you guys. So I'll just let you guys do these, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. A lot of you did the first problem, so I'm going to go over the first one. Add 2/3 and 4 nines. So what we have to do first, we had to find the LCM of 3 and 9, since those are the two denominators. And if one number is a multiple of another, that means that that number is the LCM. So the LCM of 3 and 9 is 9. We have to multiply 2/3 in order to catch up with the denominator. So what we have to do is multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, so that the denominator can be 9. So 2 times 3 over 3 times 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. We have to multiply 2 by 3, 2 times 3, because we have to multiply both by the same number, and that equals 6 over 9. So we add 6 over 9 plus 4 over 9, which is 10 over 9. And I'll accept both 10 over 9 and 1 over 9, because I don't really care which way you write it as long as it's correct. So now I'll go over the second problem. add 3/7 and 1/21. So again, the LCM of 7 and 21 is 21. Since 21 is a multiple of 7, we need to multiply 3/7 in order to catch up with the denominator 21. So we know that 7 times 3 is 21. So that would be 7 times 3 here. And we have to multiply the numerator by the same thing. So 3 times 3, which is 9/21. So we just add 9/21 plus 1/21, and the answer is 10/21. So this is the answer to the second problem. And a lot of you are done with the third problem as well. So I'll just do that one as well. Subtract 3/5 from 8/9. So this is like a subtraction problem. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last time. So the LCM of 5 and 9 is 45. So we have to multiply both fractions to get that denominator. So 8/9. I'm just going to do the second one first. So 9 times 5 is 45. So we just multiply 8 by the same thing because we have to keep the fraction equal. 40/45. And next we multiply 3/5 in order to get 45. So first we have to find what times. Guys, I'm going to do that one. So 8/9 is 40/45, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do the first one as well. 3/5. We know that 5 times 9 is 45. So we multiply 3 times 9 as well. So 3 times 9. What we get is 27/45. We have to subtract 27 from 40/45. So 40 minus 27/45 equals 13/45. And I'm going to do the fourth one. Might as well do the fourth one. Subtract 9/11 from 21/22. So we know that the LCM of 11 and 22 is 22. We have to multiply at 9/11 in order to get that denominator. We know that 11 times 2 equals 22. We have to multiply 9 by the same thing. So 9 times 2, that equals 18/22. And we're subtracting that from 21/22. So 21 minus 18/22 equals 3/22. That's the answer. So now we're going to learn about multiplying and dividing fractions. So to multiply fractions, you just need to simplify the two factors by cross-simplifying. I can demonstrate that. And then you just multiply the numerators together and the denominators together, which is pretty easy to do. Multiply 2/5 and 5/9. So 2/5 times 5/9. So this is what cross-simplifying is. You have to find all the numbers across from each other, which is like 2, 9, and 5, 5. You want to see if they share any factors. And if they do, then you have to divide them both by that factor. So first we're going to look at 2 and 9. 2 and 9 don't share any factors other than 1, so we can't do anything about those. But next we're going to look at 5 and 5. And since those share the factor 5, we divide them both by 5. And even if we divide them, we can just cross them out, replace them with 1, since both of them divided by 5 is 1. Even if we divide them, we can still get the same answer, and it makes it easier to multiply the fraction. So now what's left is 2/1 times 1/9. And that's basically just 2 times 1/9, so we get 2/9. So now next I'm going to divide fractions. And it's basically the same thing as multiplying, except all we have to do is we flip the second fraction and then multiply it like we did the first one. So what we do here, divide 3/4 by 9/10. So 3/4 divided by 9/10. What we do now is we flip the second fraction, which means we swap the places of the numerator and the denominator. So what we get out of that is 3/4 times 10/9. Now we can do cross simplifying. First, we're going to look at 3 and 9. And I know that they share a factor of 3, which means I'm going to divide them both by 3. So I cross this out, replace it with 1. Then I cross this out and replace it with 3. Next, I'm going to look at 10 and 4. And since 10 and 4 share a factor of 2, I'm going to divide them both by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 4 divided by 2 is 2. What we get out of that is 1/2 times 5/3. And now we have to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. So basically what we're doing here is 1 times 5/2 times 3. And we get 5/6. That's the answer. So I have practice problems for you guys. And if you have any questions, just ask me. Otherwise, I'll leave you to it. Guys, I only got one person's answer so far, so if you're having any trouble, you can just ask me in private chat. Oh, you can't hear? Did you turn up your volume? I don't really know. Okay, so if you're finished, send all your answers to me so I know you're done. Okay, some of you are done with the first one. I'll just go over that one real quick. Multiply 3/5 with 10/19. I'll just write it like this. So what we do here is we have to look at the numbers across from each other. First, we have 3 and 19. Now those don't share any factors except for 1, so we can't do anything about those. So the second one we do is 10 and 5. And we know that 10 and 5 are 10 is a multiple of 5, and they both share the factor of 5. So what we do is we divide them both by 5. So this divided by 5 is 2, and this would be 1. So now we're left with 3 over 1 times 2 over 19. We just multiply the numerators together, and then we multiply the denominators together. And we get 6 over 19. Guys, when you're not talking, make sure to mute yourself, because you don't because you don't accidentally make a noise that distracts the class. So some of you are done with the second question as well, so I'll just do that one. So what I'm going to do is multiply 6 over 7 with 1 and 1 over 6. Some of you guys actually read this one wrong, and I don't blame you, because it does look like 11 over 6. But it's 1 and 1 over 6. It's a mixed number. So what I do is multiply 6 over 7 with 1 over 6. Now I have to convert this into an improper fraction. So 1 and 1 over 6 converted is 7 over 6, because 1 times 6 plus 1 is 7. So 6 over 7 times 7 over 6. Now you can see here that the second fraction is basically just the first one flipped over. And when you have that in multiplication, you know the answer is going to be 1. And if you just do the cross multiplication, they're all going to cancel out to 1. So it's going to be 1 anyways. So the answer to the second one is 1. All right, since we're running out of time, I'm going to do the last two really quickly. So divide 3/8 by 4/9. So to divide a fraction, you need to flip the second fraction. I'm just going to write it like this. So what we do is we flip the second fraction over. So we get 3 over 8 times 9 over 4. And we can't cross multiply anything because all of them just share 1 as their factor. So we just do 3 times 9 over 8 times 4. That gets us 27 over 32. which is the answer to the third one. And now I'm going to do this one, 2 and 2/7 by 1/4. So we write them both as improper fractions. So 2 2/7 as an improper fraction is 14 plus 2 over 7, which is 16/7. So I wrote that here. And then 1/4 as an improper fraction is 11/7. We just divide this, and we have to flip 11/7 over, which gets us 7/11. Derek, do you have a question? Derek, is there anything wrong, or are you just... Alright, that's fine. I'll just keep doing the fourth one then. So 16/7 times 7/11. We look at the cross multiplying numbers, and we can see that 7 and 7 can be simplified. We cross them out, we get 1s. Then we just have 16/1 times 1/11, and that gets us 16/11. Alright, so we're out of time now. This week I'll assign you guys some homework, which I'll post on the classroom tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.